Now at 4, did you feel it? Southern California rattled this afternoon by a 4.4 magnitude earthquake near Highland Park. This security camera video from inside a home in Pasadena. And the quake causing a watery mess at the iconic Pasadena City Hall. Water pouring out of the building after a pipe burst because of all the shaking. Employees were evacuated as crews worked to stop the flooding. And people in our KCAL newsroom in Studio City definitely felt a good jolt. Check out the clock above our newsroom rattling back and forth during the shaking. Well, the quake struck about 12:20 this afternoon. The Did You Feel It portal from the U.S. Geological Survey shows people felt shaking from Bakersfield all the way south to the Mexican border. We have team coverage on the quake. We want to start with Nicole Comstock in Pasadena. Nicole.
Well, Amy, I was actually outside in Pasadena when this earthquake hit, and to me, it just felt like one really big jolt under my feet. I almost thought it could have been an explosion nearby at first until I saw that it was, in fact, an earthquake. Lots of people around town here in Pasadena are talking about how quick but intense this earthquake felt. And here at City Hall, a pipe actually burst during this earthquake. Take a look at this video here from SkyCal so you can see what it looked like out here a couple of hours ago when water was flowing out of that bursted pipe higher up on the building. A city spokesperson tells me when the earthquake hit, the fire alarm went off, so everyone who was in City Hall at the time rushed outside and had to wait there until the building was cleared for them to go back in. There was also one person stuck in an elevator here for just a short period of time. This is a historic 1920s building that had earthquake retrofitting completed back in 2007, so things are looking pretty good here. Pasadena Fire went into earthquake mode earlier today, pulled their fire engines out of fire stations, and went out to survey the streets looking for any injuries or damage. Thankfully, they didn't find any, but we spoke with a few people earlier about what they felt when this earthquake hit. Take a listen.
I was sitting in my retail store in Old Town Pasadena, and there was a slow building of energy and then a big jolt, and then it was over. Just things shook on the shelves, and that was about it.
It felt almost like the whole room was buzzing for a brief, intense period, and I dived under my desk and waited out to see if anything else was going to happen.
I was feeling like a shock. I was working. I'm editing right at that time, and I just feel like, oh, it's like a shakiness. I should just take a shower at that time. And I was like, oh, it's an earthquake. And she's like, oh, yeah, should I take a shower right now, or should I stop it, though?
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of forget what to do when you have an earthquake until you feel a really strong one that's centered close to where you live. Inspectors tell me they are going out to check out the Rose Bowl today as well, but the only other reports of possible damage they got were potential land movement over at La Casita del Arroyo, which is a historic site and an event venue. They haven't found any damage there so far. They also say they had some homeowners reporting smelling gas near their homes, but they haven't found any gas leaks either. They say this is a good time to keep in mind that you could feel aftershock, so if you don't have a plan in place, if you don't have some supplies with you, you should probably start thinking about that now just in case. Reporting live in Pasadena, I'm Nicole Comstock, KCAL News.
All right, great advice, Nicole. Thank you. And as we've been reporting, the quake was centered near Highland Park. We continue our team coverage now. KCAL News reporter Jeff Nguyen is live there. And Jeff, you've been talking to people who really felt that jolt.
In fact, Amy, we are on Figueroa Street near Avenue 60, and a lot of the folks in this neighborhood say that the shaking was rather significant. In fact, businesses like this boutique were able to capture the earthquake on camera. A security camera recorded the shaking inside Kindred Boutique in Highland Park, while a few doors down on Figueroa Street, Kitchen Mouse restaurant was shaking pretty good. Check out the vintage cookie jar rocking. Sous Chef Will Sage was in the kitchen.
And all of a sudden, kitchen had a nice big shake. Didn't last super long, but kind of freaked our dishwasher out.
The shaking was strong enough to send 2 customers ducking under a table. At nearby Triple Beam Pizza, the customers in the dining area ran out.
The lights were moving, the glass that's over here on this restaurant, the whole thing, you can see, it looked like a funhouse mirror. Like that, we're moving that pretty good.
We showed up about 2 hours after the magnitude 4.4 quake, but the disco ball said otherwise.
He's still up there hanging around. That's still moving that's perfectly still normally, but yeah, that's still moving.
Back at Kitchen Mouse, the employees were as calm as a cucumber behind the counter. The director of operations was in the bakery at the time.
We had some guests sitting in there that kind of jumped up really quick. In that space, you could hear all the coffee cups clanging and all the glass hitting each other.
Everyone was okay, including Will Sage, who grew up in this area.
I should be more earthquake ready than I actually am. I might take a few more things off the shelves, make it a little more earthquake ready.
So we are about 5 miles from the epicenter, and the good news here is that there is no report of any significant damage or injuries. We are live in Highland Park. Jeff Nguyen, KCAL News.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Seismologist and Southern California quake expert Dr. Lucy Jones weighed in on why the quake felt so strong to so many people despite it being a 4.4.
There's a lot of people on top of this earthquake. Fundamentally, if, you know, the other earthquakes you've been feeling and saying, oh, I don't usually feel a 4 or it's small in a 4, that's because you were farther away. This is very much the population.
Dr. Jones also said it appears the quake was based in the same group of faults that created the 1987 Whittier Narrows quake, which was a 5.9, but seismologists are still studying the data. Our team coverage continues on the quake. Here's meteorologist Evelyn Taft in our weather center. Ev, did you feel it too?
Oh, I felt it, that is for sure. First day of school for a lot of us too, so of course worrying about the kids, but they said they felt it, but they didn't seem too concerned, so that was good. Actually, school is probably one of the best places you can be during an earthquake as far as, you know, buildings go, so that's good news for us parents out there. But I will tell you, yes, I certainly felt it, and it felt much bigger than a 4.4 because we're so close to where it is. You know, we had that shake-up, that earthquake in Mettler last week, which is by Bakersfield, 5.3. We also felt that in the studio, but this just came on a lot stronger for us here in Southern California. So again, we were saying 4.4 in Highland Park. And Lucy Jones, Dr. Lucy Jones, earlier talking to us about the fact that this did take place on the Whittier fault, on those that set of faults there. And it's a blind thrust fault, meaning it's invisible from the surface. It has 3 segments that could cause a magnitude 6.0 to 6.5 earthquake. If all 3 segments were to rupture at the same time, it could potentially cause a 7.0 magnitude quake. So again, this is mild compared to really the damage it could cause. But still, we felt it. Like Amy asked, yes, indeed, I felt it. And technically speaking, it's in the 4 zone category, right? So that is considered, as far as earthquake magnitude goes, a light quake. So you have noticeable shaking. We get about 10,000 per year. And the energy equivalent, well, it's equivalent to 33,000 pounds of explosive. So that's really quite a bit if you look at it in the grand scheme of things. Just last week in Mettler, again, in Kern County, we did get a moderate quake, and we get only about 1,500 of those a year. So this really was considered light, even though so many of us felt it, myself included. Amy, back to you.
All right, Ev, thanks so much. And of course, we will continue to cover the quake aftermath on KCAL News and KCALnews.com, where we have links with information on quake preparedness. Later at 4:30, our Michelle Geely spoke with people in Orange County who felt the shaking.